Michael's you're not as shy as you used to be here, are you? Just a little bit. Yeah, I'm sorry, it's going to calm him out. That's all right. Thank you so much. It's beautiful all the time. Well, we have been I've been talking about this book, The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak Chopra. And we've been talking about these laws, these metaphysical laws that operate in the spiritual realm, that operate beyond the physical. That's what metaphysical laws are. And remember, we talk about these laws of success, and we've defined success as this. Because it's not about money. That was the last series, by the way. But we don't define it as money. We say it is the expansion, the continued expansion of happiness and the progressive realization of worthy goals. Remember, I'm reminding you that it's the continued expansion of happiness in my life, in your life, and the progressive realization of worthy goals. And we learned last week that kind of thing happens with effortless ease. When we use these laws, that is amazing just there, isn't it? What we're talking about here, what I'm talking about, what we're believing, I believe, is that we can change our life. We can fulfill our desires with effortless ease, and we can have success, which is the continued expansion of happiness and the progressive realization of worthy goals. That's what it is. I think that alone is amazing. As I often say about musical lyrics, we could stop right there and just chew on that for a little while. But we won't. We'll keep going a little bit here. I call this thing living from the inside out. It's really about deciding not to take our cues from what's happening out in the world. Deciding that this isn't really what's real, and where my power is from the inside out. From the inside out. Some people call it God. If you're in recovery, you call it the higher power. Some people call it the divine. Deepak calls it the field of pure potentiality. It doesn't matter what the name is. That's what it is. Jesus called it the kingdom of heaven. He said the kingdom of heaven is among us. It's within us. And you might say, well, it doesn't look like the kingdom of heaven out there. And here's my advice to you. Stop looking. Stop looking for the kingdom of heaven. You're not going to find the kingdom of heaven by looking. You're going to find it by knowing. You're going to find the field of pure potentiality of God, of Spirit, by knowing it. Not by looking for it and finding it. That's not the way it works. There's a story in the Bible in 1 Kings of Isaiah. And I want to paraphrase, or Elijah, not Isaiah, Elijah. And Elijah has been having some fights with other prophets, some disagreements, as it were. These are the prophets of Baal, B-A-A-L. And the Baal means, and focused on the physical. And here's Elijah, he's focused on the spiritual stuff. And they're fighting about it, saying, my God can do this, and my God can do this. And so he challenges them, and he says, okay, if your God can do that, show me. Dig a moat, it's about water and fire and all these biblical things that you can read about in 1 Kings. So they had this, and they called on their God to do this thing. And the God didn't show up, of course. And so Elijah called him out and said, it's not true, it's not true. You guys need to be following me, because they couldn't prove it. And he did his little test, and of course God shows up and makes it all happen. But here's what Elijah did. He was so frustrated that his people could be following somebody else that he decided to kill the prophets. He decided to kill them, get rid of them, get them out, take them out of circulation, right? And then he didn't feel so good about it. He got kind of scared. And he decided, I really need to get out of here because they're going to be after me. So he got totally caught up in the physical world after having proven that we really live in a spiritual universe. Isn't that the way we are sometimes? We get pretty self-righteous, and then we get kind of scared because we've done something that maybe isn't as righteous as we want or think ourselves to be. So here's what happened. He goes away, and he spends some time by himself because he's scared. And while he's there, while we're in that scared place, if we go within and we are willing to pray, some of us call it pray, meditate, be still, we'll get some guidance. We'll get some guidance. And that's exactly what he did. He was in the wilderness, he fell asleep, he woke up, he ate, he was still agitated, he fell asleep again, he woke up, he ate, and he finally got some guidance from within. And the Lord came to him, the Spirit, the guidance from within, the higher power, the pure potentiality, whatever you call it. And he said, and that Spirit says to him, what are you doing here? What are you doing here in this place of not knowing and being scared? And he says, well, I've been really looking for the Lord. I've been trying to figure this out. And the guidance he got was, well, go stand on this mountain, because the Lord is about to pass by. So he goes out to the mountain, and here's what the scripture said. That there was a great wind so strong that it was splitting mountains and breaking rocks in pieces before the Lord. But the Lord was not in the wind. And after the wind, an earthquake, but the Lord was not in the earthquake. And after the earthquake, a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire, the sound of sheer silence. And when Elijah heard the sheer silence, he knew that that was the voice of God. This all to say that that's where we find this. We don't find it by looking for the wind and the earthquakes and the fires and all these people who think they know what they're doing and telling you what it is, like me, I guess. We find it from that stillness. So I'm here to ask you, we've been talking about these laws. Are you taking time to be still? Are you taking the time, as we've talked about in past lessons, to see if your heart is open or if you're closing it down? Are we taking the time to recognize that we have a responsibility, that we can respond to any situation or circumstance how we choose to respond to it? It's not a predestined thing. We have a responsibility. That's what we have. Are we doing those kinds of things? Because there's nothing, not one law out of this book or any other book that's going to make all the other stuff okay. Like, we have to follow all these laws. We have to be aware of them as a package. It would be like saying, well, like the man-made laws, even the man-made traffic laws. What if we just decided we're only going to stop at stop signs? That's it. Red lights, not going to stop. You know. Or one-way signs don't mean anything to me. I'm going to choose the road I want to be on, and that's the way it is. Like, it doesn't work that way. If we're going to follow the laws of traffic, we have to follow the package. And it's the same way with spiritual law. We can't just pick the one we want. You know, we've got to have this wide view. We've got to be willing, initially and first and foremost, to keep our heart open, to be tender. And I want to remind us of that from the past lessons that I've done. So today I want to talk about the law. So I say all that to remind us that these laws don't exist individually. They exist all together. They exist all together. And the law I want to talk about today is called the law of intention and desire. And here's the law. Inherent in every intention, or in every idea and desire, is the mechanics for its fulfillment. Now listen to that again. Inherent in every intention and desire is the mechanics for its fulfillment. Intention and desire in the field of pure potentiality, in the field of God, in the field of Spirit, has infinite organization power. And when we introduce an intention into that fertile ground of pure possibility, we put this infinite organizing power to work for us. Now I want to tell you, if you have an idea or an intention, I want you to consider that everything necessary for the manifestation of that idea is already done. It's already complete. It's finished. Just by the fact that you have had that thought or that idea, the completion of it is already finished. Because that is the intelligence of the universe. The universe is intelligence beyond our understanding, I believe. Well, let's begin to understand this from the physical, okay? I brought up a small prop with me. want you to see this seed. I gathered these juniper seeds when I was out in the Southwest. And in this seed is all of the intelligence it takes to grow a juniper shrub in the southwest area of the United States. It grows in extreme drought. It has a certain kind of leaf, bark, wood, flower, fruit. All of that intelligence is right here. It's complete. It's complete right here. In fact, any seed you want to pick up, that intelligence is complete in and of itself right here. It's amazing to think about. And we exist in that field of pure potentiality. The complete intelligence. Think of your body. All these things are going on in your body right now that you have or that you need conscious awareness of. Your hair is growing, your eyes are seeing, your feet might be smelling. No, that's not hard. I had to break the tension somehow. You know, we're like, ooh. All that's happening. Our heart is beating. All those things are happening. This is an amazing organism that we live in, this earth suit. Yeah? Here's another thing I found out, or that came into my mind, so I had to share it. We are on a planet that is spinning around its axis at 1,000 miles per hour. Right now, that's what's happening. It's like, that's the intelligence of the universe to make that happen. And on top of that, we are hurling through space around the sun at 167,000 miles per hour. Right here on this planet. It's amazing we're all sitting here. Isn't it? It's amazing. There is such intelligence that has created this universe that it's all holding together. Or I was thinking, how can a plane actually go up and land if the Earth's moving so fast? You know, all these things. There's this supreme intelligence in the universe and in the natural system, and we exist in that. We exist. And the difference between us and, say, the seed is that we have an awareness. We can imagine and we can experience, and this seed doesn't do that. Not that we know of, or not that I know of, but this seed has an experience. But we have that, and because we have an awareness, we can influence this field of energy that we exist in. We can influence it for its highest good. We can influence it to create and manifest our dreams and desires. As humans, as conscious beings, that is the difference between us and this globe, this earth hurling through space, and the seed in us. That's pretty amazing, isn't it? Listen to this. There are two qualities that we can use that will allow us to influence this energy. And hold on to your seats. Well, they're not really new words, so don't hold on to your seats. Two qualities: attention and intention. Attention and intention. Deepak says, attention energizes and intention transforms. Whatever you put your attention on will go stronger in your life. That's not brand new to you, I'm sure. Whatever you take your attention away from will wither, disintegrate, and disappear. Intention, on the other hand, triggers transformation of energy and information. Intention organizes its own fulfillment. So let me give you some examples. We know this attention thing. And I'm going to project on you something that happens to me quite often, which is I leave the house and I back out of the driveway and I don't remember if I've closed the garage door. Or I forget if I've unplugged the curling iron. Or that's not a good example because you know what I mean. I'm looking at Renee. Or I forget the toaster oven is unplugged. Or I turn whatever it is, I forgot. Has that any happened?
Every day.
Yeah, every day, right? So here's our choices. We either keep going, we pull out of the parking space, we pull out of our driveway, we leave where we're going, and we either decide to go back and check, or we keep going. Sometimes that happens too. If we keep going, what happens? We simply take our attention off of it. And we go on with our day. We say, yes, I did it. Paula, why are you questioning yourself? And you keep on going. That's the power of attention. We can give it to something, as simple as that, or we can take it away. It's up to us. But you'll notice, I notice for me, if I'm going down the road and deciding, yes, I closed the garage, don't go back there, you know you did it, I let it go, I take my attention away from it, and I don't think about it the rest of the day. That's the power of attention. Now, intention is a little bit different. Maybe we set an intention to eat more consciously, or to get sugar out of our diet, or whatever. And what do we do when we do that? When we set an intention to do that, we're reading labels on boxes, we're going to the grocery store in a totally different way than when we weren't focused on that, right? In other words, we organize our life around what we want. The same thing can be said for if we decided to take up watercolor. If we decided to take up watercolor, we would be thinking about, oh, maybe there's a class I can take, or I need to go get some watercolor paper and a certain kind of brush. And we would begin to organize our life around this intention. But the intention I'm talking about, the attention, those are examples of it, but it goes way beyond that. What it goes to is what I've mentioned already, is that with attention and intention, we can accomplish and experience our desires and dreams. That's what we're talking about. Maybe painting is a dream, though. But what I'm saying is it's so much greater than that. There's something else beyond these things that if we plant this idea in the field of pure potentiality, we can recognize and realize and manifest our dream. Here's what Deepak says. He says, through intention, you can command the laws of nature to fulfill your dreams and desires. Through intention, you can command the laws of nature to fulfill your dreams and desires. That's big. See, when we introduce an idea into this field of pure potential, we activate the entire universe to stand behind us. You see how that can happen? We activate. Just like last week I said, when we resist what is happening in front of us, it is as if we are resisting the entire universe, because the universe conspired to make this. And if we resist it, we're going against the entire universe. Where when we plant this idea in the field of pure potentiality, we activate the entire universe behind it. We activate the entire universe. The universe says, yes, yes. That's how it works. Instead of struggling against it, we are using it in the opposite direction. And this intention I'm talking about is not hoping and wishing. It is trusting and believing. It's not trying it out. It's knowing. It's knowing. That's what it's about. This intention is more than just a wishy-washy thing. Here's the other thing, this little nuance about this intention as we plant it in this field of pure potentiality, and that is this: it's not attached to an outcome. A lot of us think, well, this is my intention and it has to happen, and unless it happens exactly this way, you know, there's no other way. But intention attached to surrender is the paradox of spiritual work. Is the paradox. It's like, how can you have an intention and then just surrender to it? Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Because we rely on this God, this pure potentiality, this spirit, this higher power, to do the work. If we get out of the way enough for it. It's different than the way some of us have lived and are living. Here's what Deepak says about it. He says, intention combined with detachment leads to life-centered, present moment awareness. Now listen to this. Your intent is for the future, but your attention is in the present. As long as your attention is in the present, then your intent for the future will manifest. Because the future is created in the present. See the paradox of that? The future is created in the present. That's the truth of it. That's the link between this attention and intention. Is that while I have this intention that I planted, I operate in the present. There's no other place that I can operate. The moment that you experience coming in here is gone. This is what you have. Right here, right now. is where the future is directed from. So how do we do this? How do I manifest my desires and dreams and stay in the present and make an intention in the future? Well, if you read my blog this week, one of the ways I asked you to think about it was this. Don't let the world suck the life out of you. Don't let it. Don't let it suck the life out of you. A friend of mine responded to a blog a couple of weeks ago, and she said her grandmother, who she called her Nana, knew this stuff. She knew metaphysics. And her Nana used to tell her this. She said, don't scatter your forces. Isn't that a great one? I won't take credit for it. Don't scatter your forces. Stay focused, stay point on and positive, and rely on God to make it happen. That's what it's about. Don't let anyone tell you you can't do it. What? Yeah? Stay point on. That's what this is about. Let me read you this. The last one from here. Deepak says, one pointed attention is that quality of attention that is unbending in its fixity of purpose. Not unbending, but unbending in its fixity of purpose. One pointed attention means holding your attention to the intended outcome with such unbending purpose that you absolutely refuse to allow obstacles to consume and dissipate the quality of your attention. You just refuse. Somebody says, oh, you can't do that. Yes, I can. That's not for you, it is for me. Keeping that attention in the present moment. There is a total and complete exclusion of all obstacles from your consciousness, from your mind, from your thinking. You are able to maintain an unshakable serenity while being committed to your goal with intense passion, because we stay right in the present. So here's the process. We've got to believe that we exist in the field of pure potentiality. We exist in the godness of the universe. We exist in the divine. Remember the story I told you, some of you who haven't been here, the story of the fish, right? The fish not knowing they were in the water, and they were told, hey, you exist in the water. And they go out and look for the water. That's how we are sometimes. We're out looking for God, looking for this great thing that's going to save us. We exist in it already. And the fish that stayed home and built condominiums on the reef and had grandkids, he already knew he was in the water. But we forget. We have to believe that that's where we exist. And we have to trust it. We have to trust it. We have to trust that that is so. And then we need to surrender. We need to give up all the anxiety and expectation that it happened according to our time. This seed sprouts in right time, with the right amount of water, with the right amount of nutrients. This intelligence is released into manifestation. And it's the same with us. At the right time, we can release it into manifestation. And that's what we do. We release it into that field, and then we surrender to it. And we know that it is done. That's the process. That's how it works. We need to stay in joy, in peace, in non-judgment, with the expectation of seeing only love and possibility in every situation, every circumstance, and with every person. And that's how we do it. So during meditation today, what I'm going to guide you to do is exactly that, is to plant an idea into this field of pure potentiality. What's an intention you have? Think about that for a minute. Maybe jot it down on the back of your soul card. What is it that you want to manifest? What is it that you are this is the thing. For me, it's the soul center. I don't care how many people show up here. I know that there is a work being done beyond me. Are you kidding me? And I see it happening, and I know that by planting it in that possibility, the potential is unlimited. So what is that for you? What is that for you? What is that intention that you want to plant? Because Deepak says the place to plant it is in that stillness. To become still, to become perfectly centered, and to plant that intention in that place. So let's begin to do that now. Take a deep breath. Let's slip into that place of heart open. Deepak calls it slipping into the gap. Slipping into that place that's beyond the words. Slipping into that place of vibration. Where we release our thoughts. First we release our intention into it. And then we surrender to that power, to that presence, to God, to Spirit, to all that is, to divine mind, to universal intelligence, to higher power. We release it to that. We surrender. And we sit in the stillness. Breathing in and breathing out. having planted this intention into the universe, having surrendered our desire into all that is, what's left is for us to simply be present, to keep our attention in the moment, to live from joy, from love, from kindness, to live from enthusiasm for the possibilities, to live with an open heart, to endeavor to see love in all that we notice, in every person, in every situation and circumstance, to come from love itself. And by keeping these doors to our heart wide open, we allow ourselves to be aware of the unfolding of the perfection of God, of Holy Spirit, of the divine right in front of our eyes. So with a deep breath in and out, let's rest assured that all things are possible